Metal Storm. Whenever I think of this game, one thing inevitably comes to my mind. Why is this game not more popular? Metal Storm was published by Irem, the makers of R-Type and Kickle Cubicle. And the first time I heard about Metal Storm was actually in the show Nick Arcade, which was actually a pretty fun show by Nickelodeon Studios, in which two teams would compete for prizes unrelated to video games by playing video games. They would play games like Ghosts and Goblins, Rampage, and other classic arcade games at the time, and win bicycles and sneakers. Metal Storm is a beautifully crafted game, which honors its title because everything in this game is made of metal. But what really sets Metal Storm apart from any other game is this: the gravity shift, which makes a whole new element of strategy into the game. Shifting gravity will help you get past some of the more difficult parts of the game, but if you shift gravity at the wrong time, this will happen. The gravity shift adds a whole new gameplay element, and it's one of the most important parts of this game because you can't just shift gravity whenever you want. You have to think about it and stop and look at the terrain before you shift gravity. One thing I enjoy the most about this game is the way it looks. This game takes to heart the whole Japanese animation style, and everything about it is very mecha-like. The animation of the robot itself is stunning for an 8-bit system. And another thing that I enjoy very much is that when you get hit, the death animation is that traditional globular explosion that you would see in television series like Macross and Gundam. Even dying is cool as hell. This game has one of the most fluid animations in any game of that era. At the end of every stage, you will encounter a large boss, which is largely inspired by the big robots in Japanese animation. Some of these bosses are fairly simple, others will require a lot of strategy to beat. Now, Metal Storm is not a terribly long game. There are 7 stages in total, 6 of which are full-fledged stages, and a 7th is a boss fight. But this is one of those games that no matter how short it is, you just keep coming to over and over again. One of the things that helps Metal Storm immensely is that each level is different. Each level has a very particular theme, particular stage gimmicks that you have to get down or else you'll die repeatedly. And there is no repetition in this game. Every level is unique, and that's something that's very difficult to come by. In an era of disposable thrills and samey environments, if you look back at a game like Metal Storm, it's a professional product that's made with a lot of attention to detail, and it really stands out as a product that stands against the test of time with flying colors. One thing that you'll notice, especially in level 3, is that parallax scrolling is used in this game. Now, the NES in itself does not support parallax scrolling in its hardware. However, with some software trickery, the programmers could actually make this technique. And they made the technique so well that it's comparable to that on the Sega Mega Drive. The sprites redraw themselves with every new frame, and it actually feels like parallax scrolling, but there are many different layers of background all moving at different rates. It truly is very impressive. It amazes me how not many people speak of Metal Storm. When they talk about NES classic games like Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Contra, Castlevania, the Mega Man series, everybody brings up those games. Personally, I would put this game as number 3 on my top NES games. At the very top I would place Metroid, followed by Legend of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, and Metal Storm. Not necessarily because of the quality of the game, but it's a game that I played the most. I don't know how many hours I sunk into this cartridge, but every one of them was worth it. And in the end, the cartridges that you play the most, and the games that you enjoy for the longest, are really the ones that you tend to remember the most. You dedicate yourself learning every little nook and cranny and every enemy, every shot, and it really connects to you on a different level. Needless to say that I have a huge emotional attachment to this game. Besides its theme, which is of course awesome because anything with giant robots in it will immediately get my attention. So go ahead, treat yourself. Turn your Nintendo upside down with Metal Storm, new from Irem. And that was literally the slogan in 1990.